Well, hello there. It's Tuesday for me. And I called that Soul, not Redemption of a Lost Soul, which will be on Friday. Wednesday is Peace and Parts of Jesus' Life, maybe like you've never heard before. Message from the Fire, quite certainly. Um, Thursday is Thursday stories, those small little ones that who knows where they go. But Tuesday is Soul. This is transformational stories. I don't know how long they'll be. One episode, maybe five. Who knows? God's in control of those things. So I'm learning. It's the opposite side of things. Anyway, me and my snow from the inside. It's here. So I really, 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 really like transformational stories. I've listened to them all day for some reason. And wow, off we go like a top. So staying in the same pattern because that's where we live. So, first wisdom on transformation or transformational or transfiguration, which happened at the cross. Transformation or transmorphation. Huh, big words. Does they all exist? Who knows? But here is the truth. There is a story that was written for you, not anyone else. There is a story that will be told. It's only for you. Comes for you, accesses you, will entertain others, but will do something amazing within you. That is a transformational story. I managed to find three of mine today. Wow. And boy, did they transform. Not quite sure where I am right now, but here I am, sitting here. So, this is a bit of a fantasy. I like fantasy. I like space. I like swashbuckling. I like stories. But anyway, that's the piece on transformation. If you wish to reach me, then do that at starthealing.me, starthealing.me, starthealing.me. That's StartHealing dot me. I might have spelled it correctly. Hope I did. Just reach out to me. As you know, I do legacy and lineage and clear homes and businesses and deal with problems. Everybody's sitting there scratching their head going, I gotta dig it, dig it, dig it, dig it. How'd that happen? Why is my whole fleet laying on the ground? Oh, yeah. And no mechanic can fix it. Well, I'm not a mechanic, but I may have an answer for you. Um, yeah, I know. Whoa, yeah. Well, who knows? One word can start an avalanche of words, and that avalanche of words can rewrite everything you ever knew into its proper place so that it's coordinated exactly as God wished. Not my words. A man that literally threw me a hat and disappeared. And I wasn't ready for it and I fell over it. And here I am now. Couldn't probably say that again if I tried, but it works. So, enough said. We're off. Transformational story. And it's a one off, but we'll find out. The Zacarians had come in mass. There was magic and swords and fire and flame. The average beings on the planet had no way to defend themselves, no clue. The nobles, well, not much better. But the Zycarians had come from somewhere, not space particularly, not dropping in ships and grand weapons. These people stepped out of the void, out of windows, doors in places with swords and weapons that could not be gainsaid. At least that was the truth. As the truth that the the nation that had been formed by those that had been forgotten and stolen from a place that would not be mentioned ever again because no one knew what it was. It's wiped from their memory, gone from their space and time. But they knew one thing, they did not give up. But that didn't mean much because the Zacarians had been not destroying them, but feeding on them. They had been disappearing one by one into dust. And then there was a man, a repairman, really, tinkerer of sorts, seller of herbs, had a staff, didn't really understand magic much. That was for the nobles. But plants grew around him like they loved him, and he spoke of a God ancient and wonderful that may have done some things that may have sounded terrible. Again, something erased from their memory that they could never quite grasp, but somehow he had. And he had turned to this God, and this God had protected him. And when the Zacarians came near him, they had a problem. But he was only one man. But he imagined sitting there tinkering away on something that would eventually become something that he would travel across, something lost and desperate that fell from the sky. That did fall from the sky. It was organic but metal, screaming about the Icarians. It was a she. It was beautiful. Most of the metal had to be removed, so what was underneath was beautiful in its own way. Not like him, not like his women, no. He was actually happy about it as far as that she loved him and he loved her. She had said they were coming and they had come. And no one had ever stopped them. The worlds became dead that knew them. When she transformed into what she called her thunder form, she was huge. Not really a feline, not really a wolfen, something else, something from her world. Fur, yes. Power, definitely. Fierce, yes. She trusted him and figured out something. They had to have the power from their, what he called gates. They, she'd never heard this word before. And he had said that the great God above had told him about these gates. And if they were closed, the Zephyrians lose their power, could be wiped out. And that's what they should do, right down to the last one, not leaving one alive. And he was going to make sure that happened if it occurred. He was charging forward on this beautiful one that he loved so much, and she loved him. They got to the first place, and there was about 30 Zephyrians around this shimmering energy. Ha! He said, found one. And she said, my people were destroyed by these. Is God okay if I destroy these? And he goes, well, I have to move, get out of the way. Maybe they'll chase you around a bit while I shut this thing down. You sure you can? Well, God said I could. Told me to dig up these crystals and drop it in the center and ask an angel to come and sit, literally sit, and ask God to break the bond of time and space and energy and matter and dimensional spaces and places. And any demonic, whatever a demon is, he said, I'm learning. I think those are the following things that fell away from God. And he said, if I do that, this falls. I require time. Okay, well, I'll keep them entertained. Well, what she called entertaining was like, wow. It's a bit like David running up the walls. He had given her new armor. That stuff that she had was useless, but this stuff was engraved and filled with stones, just like, well, a man he knew about called Aaron, and a thing he called the Bible. But of course, none of his in this world knew. And she was a force to be reckoned with. So I got near that shiny thing and dropped the crystal, and immediately the Zephyrians turned around and went, "No, you can't do that." In perfect English. They'd never talked English before, but all of a sudden they found their voice. "Don't do that. That's our home. You can't." And he said, "I do. I bind everything that's here by the great and mighty God, by the one that sealed and died for us, the name above all names where every knee will bow." The gate sizzled. He said, "I ask an angel to come and sit with this crystal and never let this gate be used again. Seal it in blood and truth and justice of the Most High, Most Mighty God, the King of Kings, the Lord of Lords, my Savior, that some tried to take away the knowledge of, yet I know." And then God said, "Take your staff and set it in the thing." He said, "Set, do not hammer it down or anything." He'd read about Moses somehow, who knows, but he learned that lesson. He just tapped it down with a huge fireball, pure white flame, and then gone. The Zephyrians screeched, "There are many more gates. You will not close them all." And at that moment, they ceased to exist. The armor had held. She had won. They all lay slain. She didn't like that. She asked God to forgive her. God said it was necessary sometimes. Some will not change. They refuse the change. But some will. You will know the difference. We're not here to destroy a people. We're here to free them as well. But these were tainted, not beings anymore. Something lived within them, but not Zephyrians, not who they were before the twist and the change that happened to them. They caused their march across the cosmos. He goes, "Wow, I heard God." She goes, "The first time." Walks over and she's in her form, a little bit bigger than him, a little bit. Uh, he was big for a man. For a male of his species, he was really big. He was sevenish, but she was eightish, and he had to look up and give her a little peck. "Well, Mrs., you did a good job. Yeah, on to the next one." And they did. For the next 6 weeks, that's what they did. They shut down every single gate till there was only one left. They had gotten rid of a lot of the Farians that were no longer Zavarians. They were carried by a demon or something. There was nothing there, Zephyrian left. But some of the Zephyrians, as the gates closed, came back to themselves, made their choices, and switched sides, fought with the Tinkerer and his amazing being that rode with him and loved him as much as she. She loved him as much as he loved her. They were for each other. They had moved on until one gate was left, and they gave the Zephyrians a choice. They could go back, but everyone that was shelled, everyone that had a demon, didn't go anywhere. He'd asked God to endow ring of stone and metal that had somehow been forged on a mountaintop. So that, well, we're back. This will be part two, of course. I seem to still be kind of frozen here, but now I'm moving. Good. Well, welcome to live. It's just, I don't think the enemy likes this one. But anyway, back to that memory of the mountaintop. Yes. In every hand he shook of the Therians that was a shell just dusted. Soon all that had plagued them were gone. The Therians were different now. We were we're back again. There's going to be moments like this in these stories. So hold on tight until all those Zephyrians were gone that were shell, that were just being carried by something malevolent and evil. And they said, we were once artists, herbalists. Our world is ruined. We have nowhere to go. Will you allow us to stay? And he said, of course. You do not make us bow to your God. No, but you can if you wish. A lot of them did. Over the next 10 years, most of them would. They became very powerful together, walking with God. His that were left, not many. Theirs that were left, not many. An interblending transformation of life. And God was real with all of them. We'll leave it there before I melt the circuits again. Hopefully you enjoyed that story. I know kind of a we're back again. Time for a blessing. A blessing of truth and power, of joy and peace. The very essence of God moving through this transformational moment for you. And everything that brush wishes to paint from God, according to your will and wish, according to God's will and wish, shall be. We come before you, Father, Spirit, Son. Well, first night's been wonderful, wild and a little stormy, but you're here. We ask you to push back the darkness. If this is the first time or the 100th time, if it's the first time, let them find the Roman road. And if it's the 100th time, let them go deeper. We thank you for all that you're doing here. We can tell that the storm is real. But I'm back, and I'm going to keep coming back till I finish this. So let's finish it. We thank you, God. We thank you for being you and only you. And then we thank you for everything you do because everything is what you do. And we are grateful, full of gratitude, and wondered by your love. And so we say grace and mercy, and courage and strength as we go. So, with that, we say, Amen. Just a confirming reality that we are setting this in the name above all names to be exactly what the will and the being that is Father, Spirit, Son wishes. And so we go forward, thankful, grateful, gratitude, thankful, grateful, gratitude, thankful, grateful, gratitude, standing in awe and honor and respect, allowing all glory to flow, Father, Spirit, Son. This is, and so this is, a blessing of joy and wonder and laughter for you. One more, then blessings.